You're reading this right now, and that's no coincidence. This found you exactly when it was meant to. Not earlier, not later, and that timing means something inside your reality is already shifting. Most people think transformation demands effort, pushing, grinding, forcing life to change. But the deepest shifts don't come from force. They come from a quiet adjustment within you. The universe has always been listening, not to your words, but to something far deeper, your inner state. Before language, before names, there was a silent intelligence flowing through everything. It's still here. And it responds not to what you do, but to what you are. Creation doesn't start with action, not even with thought alone. It begins with your inner orientation toward existence itself. Inside you lives an invisible field where intention, emotion, and expectation meet, and that's where realities form. You're not watching life happen. You're a gravitational center, pulling experiences toward you through the frequency you emit. Every belief you hold, every feeling you live in, sends a signal into the fabric of reality, and it answers with perfect precision, not as reward or punishment, but as law, contract, and your world tightens. Open and paths appear without struggle. The shift you seek isn't in doing more, it's in letting go of the need to control. It's turning inward, surrendering into coherence, where power rises without effort. Your emotions aren't blocks, they're guides pointing you back to alignment. When peace replaces resistance, creation accelerates. The power you've chased outside has always lived within you, buried under old patterns. These words are reaching you because you're ready to remember. You don't beg the universe for blessings, you move with it in rhythm and trust. Now meet Millie. In her quiet bakery, shelves once full now sat nearly empty. Some people are just born lucky, she'd sigh, watching others thrive while her register stayed silent. But then she met an elder who whispered an ancient truth. Your doubts shape your world. Her belief in lack had become a magnet for more lack. But when gratitude filled her just for the warmth of the oven, the joy of baking, unexpected abundance followed. Not because she changed her recipes, but because she changed her frequency. Not far away, EMTT walked his mail route. Some days dogs snarled, packages vanished, people frowned. Other days, when he carried lightness inside, smiles met him everywhere. Doors opened easily. Even stray cats purred as he passed. His route became proof. The outer world mirrors your inner weather. Clara's flower shop told the same story. When she compared herself to big supermarkets, her blooms wilted. But when she lost herself in pure creative joy, her arrangements glowed, customers drawn by a radiance they couldn't explain. The flowers weren't reacting to her skill. They were echoing her heart's frequency. Calvin, retired and crafting birdhouses, discovered this too. One morning, humming in simple contentment, he infused his work with quiet joy. Days later, rare birds, vibrant singing, chose his humble boxes as home. The universe mirrored his inner harmony with living beauty. Hattie's thrift store sat dusty and quiet until one day, a forgotten music box played on its own. Laughter rose in her chest, and a customer walked in laughing too. That day, sales returned. On days she worried, nothing moved. On days she felt light, the shop buzzed. Life was reflecting her vibration. Nothing more, nothing less. Glenn, the painter, wrestled his canvas into dull frustration until he let go. One evening, he painted like a child, free from judgment. Suddenly, his art began to glow. Beauty flowed not from technique, but from release. Elsie, the nurse, saw patients heal faster not from medicine alone, but from her gentle tone. Vernon, the musician, stopped demanding success and started whispering his dreams with calm certainty. Opportunities arrived without chase. Mabel, the accountant, used to count what was missing until sunlight on her coffee cup reminded her to count what was there. Gratitude wasn't just politeness, it was tuning into abundance's frequency. And Floyd, the gardener, learned, resisting what is only feeds the very thorns you wish to remove. Gratitude isn't just politeness, it's magnetic frequency. Floyd didn't curse the weeds. Every morning he thanked them for teaching him persistence, balance, and hidden abundance, and slowly his whole garden shifted. The vegetables grew richer, flowers bloomed fuller. Even the weeds found their place, not as invaders, but as part of a living system. His thanks didn't change the soil, it changed the energy around it. Gratitude dissolves resistance. It turns what's wrong into fertile ground for what's possible. When you thank life for what is, you open the door for what can be. So each night, name 5 small graces: a stranger's smile, a song that played at the perfect moment, a red light turning green just in time. Don't wait for miracles, let the tiny ones lead. Speak them aloud. Feel how each thank you ripples through space like sacred smoke, clearing room for more to arrive. Make gratitude your breath, inhalation, recognition, exhalation offering. Soon you won't chase abundance. You'll live inside it. Sadie the poet learned this the hard way. She wrote only of heartbreak, and life kept handing her more reasons to grieve. Her words weren't just expression. They were blueprints. Emotions aren't reactions. They're architects. Joy isn't just a feeling, it's wind in your sails. Sadness isn't a wall. It's a compass pointing you toward alignment. Leon, the fisherman, saw this on the waves. When he carried fear, the sea turned rough and his nets came up empty. But when he stepped onto his boat with quiet trust, the ocean danced with him, offering its gifts freely. Your inner weather shapes outer reality, not as illusion, but as law. When discomfort rises, don't fight it. Lean in, ask, what is this showing me? Then gently reach for a slightly better feeling. Anger to calm, despair to curiosity. Climb the emotional ladder one rung at a time. This isn't toxic positivity. It's conscious navigation. And your words? They're not just sounds. They're commands sent into the quantum field. Pearl sat before blank canvases for months, whispering, I can't, and her brushes stayed heavy. Walter ran a grocery store, once sighing, I'm overwhelmed, until he switched to, abundance flows here. Soon, shelves filled faster than he could stock them. Customers came not because he advertised, but because his language vibrated prosperity. I have to becomes I choose to. I'm afraid becomes I'm learning. I don't know how becomes I'm discovering. Your vocabulary builds your world. Choose words that feel like sunlight. Speak as if the universe is listening closely, because it is. Dot believed abundance passed her by, so it did. Her belief became an invisible wall. But Clyde, a teacher in a struggling school, quietly affirmed, kindness returns as prosperity. He didn't shout it. He let it settle like a seed. Then donations arrived. Students thrived. Bonuses followed. Not because he begged, but because he believed. Belief is spiritual currency. What you accept as true, the universe mirrors with perfect math. You don't need to fake confidence. Just find a phrase that sparks a flicker of possibility. I am open to receiving. Worthiness is my birthright. And repeat it like a prayer until it feels natural. Ivy, the florist, burned herself out trying to earn success until exhaustion forced her still. In that pause, she realized, the universe doesn't run on grind. It runs on flow. Harold, the mechanic, used to muscle through engine repairs until one day he stopped pushing. He breathed, relaxed, and suddenly his hands moved with quiet precision. The problem solved itself. Effort blocks grace. Surrender invites it. Before any task, pause. Wait until urgency fades and enthusiasm rises. Move only from that place. Watch how doors open without force. How solutions appear mid-step. You're not meant to drag reality into shape. You're meant to align and let creation move through you. Lahi, the candlemaker, learned this in darkness. She rushed, stressed, pushed until every flame she lit went out. In that silence, truth arrived. The very force she used to make things happen was smothering the spark. Creation thrives in ease, not effort. Allowance isn't giving up. It's trusting the universe's timing. When you stop wrestling life, you become a clear channel. Abundance doesn't need force. It needs space. And that space opens the moment you release your grip on how and when. Rufus chased real estate leads like a man running from shadows. Always busy, never arriving. Then one morning he stopped. He sipped coffee, watched the sunrise, and simply felt the abundance already around him. Within days, clients called, not because he hustled, but because he relaxed. The less he pushed, the more life flowed toward him. Be like open air, don't fight the wind, let it move through you. When challenges come, soften instead of resisting. Surrender isn't weakness, it's alignment. And in that alignment, power awakens. Belle crafted wind chimes from sea glass and driftwood. For years, she called her luck chance. But when she began meditating in joy each morning, perfect pieces washed ashore just as she imagined them. Customers arrived asking for designs she'd only dreamed of. Synchronicity isn't coincidence. It's the universe whispering, you're in tune. Oscar ran a quiet bookshop. Instead of worrying about sales, he'd close his eyes and imagine books finding their readers. Soon, people walked in asking for the exact titles he'd just been thinking. About a grieving widow seeking healing, an entrepreneur needing guidance, The books weren't waiting on shelves. They were calling home through his vibration. The cosmos speaks in signs. Repeating numbers, perfect parking spots, chance meetings that change everything. These aren't random. They're replies to your frequency. Smile when you see them. Each one is a love letter from existence. You're seen. You're heard. Keep going. Nora rushed to set up her jewelry stall before dawn, yet customers passed her by. One morning, she knocked over her display and paused. Sunlight hit the crystals, scattering rainbows on the ground. In that stillness, she realized, alignment comes before action. Like a musician tuning before playing, you must harmonize your energy before stepping into the world. Chester, the dance teacher, learned this when he stopped rushing into class and first centered in rhythm. His students didn't just follow steps, they danced. Joy replaced mechanics. Before any big move, sit in silence. Breathe until your inner state matches your desire. Then act not from urgency but from flow. That's not preparation. That's spiritual attunement. Viola walked empty beaches, begging love to find her. Until one dawn she understood love wasn't missing. It was within, waiting to be radiated, not received. The moment she gave love freely, without asking for return, her world filled with connection. Daryl, the mailman, grieved after losing his wife. Then he began sending silent blessings to every home on his route. No expectation, just love. Soon neighbors waved, gardens bloomed brighter, tea appeared on doorsteps. His heart's field, real, measurable, powerful, had magnetized grace. Your heart broadcasts energy far beyond your body. Radiate love and life mirrors it back, multiplied. June planned her flower stand down to the minute. Yet deliveries failed, weather shifted, customers vanished. She fought timing until she surrendered. Divine timing isn't late. It's perfect. Every delay protects you. Every detour positions you. Guy, the watchmaker, lived by rigid schedules until illness forced him to let go. Without control, everything flowed better. Parts arrived when needed. Customers came when he had energy. Precision wasn't in his plans, it was in the universe's design. Flowers bloom when they're ready. Tides rise on cosmic command. Your dreams, same. Whisper, everything unfolds perfectly. Let that dissolve the need to rush. Rest in trust even while dreaming boldly. Olive-shaped pottery beneath. Olive trees, but called herself just a simple potter. One morning, sunlight on wet clay cracked her illusion. She wasn't the hands. She wasn't the story. She was the awareness behind it all. Your true identity isn't your limits, it's the infinite space holding them. Morris feared his first solo flight until he closed his eyes and became the sky. Not the nervous pilot, but the vastness itself. When he opened his eyes, fear was gone. Mastery had already arrived. You're not a small self trying to grow. You're the ocean remembering it's not just a wave. You're not becoming someone new. You're remembering who you've always been. Consciousness itself, dressed in human form for this beautiful dance. Ruby ran an antique shop, but her mind played a broken record. What if no one comes? I'm not enough. Those thoughts weren't just noise, they were signals shaping her reality. The universe doesn't just hear your words, it tunes into your mental frequency. Worry becomes the soundtrack of lack, but you hold the baton. You can shift the melody. Claudina, the choir singer, discovered power not in song, but in silence. In those quiet pauses between notes, life flowed most purely. Miracles don't need constant thought. They need space. So each morning, before the world rushes in, listen to your inner music. Then gently replace fear with gratitude. One note at a time until your whole being hums with harmony. Louise walked the market smiling, not out of habit, but from seeing the divine in everyone. That smile wasn't just kindness. It was physics. Every genuine expression sends ripples through the quantum field, rearranging particles toward grace. Earl, the diner cook, learned this too. When he started humming joy into his eggs and coffee, customers felt lighter, not because the food changed, but because the energy did. Faye, the waitress, used to blame rude customers until she saw the truth. Their behavior mirrored her inner criticism. Alton, the barber, transformed his chaotic shop not by changing others, but by speaking kindness to his own reflection each morning. You are enough. Soon mirrors that once showed tension now reflected peace. As within, so without. Della dismissed every compliment on her jewelry. Oh, it's nothing, and watched buyers walk away. Norris, the sculptor, did the same, until one day he simply said, "Thank you." That tiny shift opened the floodgates. Abundance flows only when you allow yourself to receive. Receiving isn't pride, it's participation in the sacred cycle of giving and taking that keeps creation alive. Rosa planned her life months ahead, but missed the sunset on her desk. The rain's rhythm, the quiet joy already here. The present moment isn't a waiting room. It's the only place where reality forms. Baronet, the violinist, played perfectly for years until she stopped chasing applause and just felt the music. That's when her soul began to sing and audiences wept. Milani collapsed in her flower shop, exhausted. In that surrender, stillness washed over her like rain on dust. Otis, the delivery driver, started pulling over for 5 minutes of pure silence, no phone, no radio. Within days, green lights, perfect parking, unexpected kindness all flowed in. Stillness isn't emptiness, it's recalibration. The fastest way back to your natural frequency. Abigail's garden withered under her bitterness until she forgave. Not for others, for herself. Byron, the coach, carried shame for years until he dropped it. Doors opened instantly. Forgiveness isn't weakness. It's a frequency upgrade. It turns the lead of resentment into golden freedom. Before sleep, breathe light into old wounds. Let them dissolve. Liberation begins when you stop carrying hot coals in your hands. Ada read every spiritual book, but change didn't come until she chose joy while washing dishes. Franklin knew all the laws of manifestation, but his library only transformed when he became peace instead of just reading about it. Knowledge is a seed, practice is the rain. Pick one truth, gratitude, trust, love, and live it for 7 days. Not as theory, as breath, as action, as being. You've been shown the mirror again and again. You are both the dreamer and the dream, the artist and the art. This isn't about mastering techniques. It's about returning home to the awareness that's always been watching, always been whole. Synchronicities aren't luck. They're confirmation, you're in tune. Gratitude isn't ritual, it's your native language. Trust isn't hope, it's memory. You found this for a reason, not by accident, but because something in your reality is already shifting. So keep breathing. Keep choosing love over fear, stillness over struggle, allowance over control. The universe hasn't just heard you. It's been waiting for you to remember. And when you do, you won't manifest your dream. You'll realize you are the dream, awake, alive, and already whole.